alongside most of these members when he was on Dignitas last year before he joined up with Obey. So he's back to his winning ways there, or potential winning ways, we'll see, as well as Flurry Q, who they kind of abandoned during relegations and let him do his own thing. And we'll see how Flurry Q can do here. He's the one that I'm like got a question mark next to.
It's not a bad idea to sometimes leave your solo hunter alone in the duel lane. You don't really want him. You want him to be in a position to start carrying in the mid game, and by leaving him alone, he'll get more experience. Now, the only thing you have to worry about is potentially getting ganked over and over again. So if that's going to happen, as long as you're not giving up Gold Fury and you're taking things on the opposite side of the map, it's always worth the trade.
Well, we never saw no Nike last game, any Nike, the last two sets, I should say. But we do see a back out from Elevate early on, respecting that one for the time being. A little bit worried about the pressure from that, but it does leave up this Ratatoska that is instantly locked in for Novus.
Good global pressure coming out of Novus Orsa here, instantly locking that in. It's going to be interesting to see how Elevate adapt to this, whether or not they're going to go for a Cabrakan pick or not, because so far in the European first day of the SPL Spring Split, we've seen a lot of Cabrakan thus far.
We really have, and obviously this is very early in the draft, so it could still come out for the solo lane, even though we've got potentially two junglers locked in here. Obviously, Ratatoska can be running the solo lane, we've seen that before, but Fafnir, one of the secret picks that seems to be coming, not secret, but like under the radar picks that have come into play again this year, and Dardes is more than likely going to be playing that one.
It's more because the fact that all these gods being in the 100 position are more late game centered. You got your Paulo, you got your Rom that's more focused about that, so Fafnir's going to synergize very well with that, especially if you can somehow manage to squeeze Toth in there, but that's banned.
But a Fafnir over a Sylvanas, which gives Sylvanas and the Zeus combo to Novus Orsa on paper right now. I really love that squad that they've lined up, Novus Orsa here. And Elevate have gone with the Odin, which is more than likely for Mogao.
It was a bait. They wanted the Sylvanas to be picked through so that they can get the Odin before the secondary ban phase. And when we talk about Elevate, we got to talk about Mogao playing his famous Odin. It's either the Odin or the Hades when I think of Mogao.
Yeah, that's true. He's always Hades, Mogao, as well as he does Raw sometimes in Hercules, but Hercules is banned, and Raw in the solo lane, well, we've not seen one just yet this season. We'll find out as the season goes on. Giannis and Tyr banned out, as well as Fenrir, so Elevate looking for the solo laners overall here.
Surprising that Fenrir was banned away from Novus Orsa, considering the Ratatoska was already picked, but either way, taking away Rama, which is a nice ban from Novus Orsa, not going to synergize very well with the Fafnir and with the Apollo ban as well. Going to have to go for more of an ability-based hunter, which doesn't synergize as effectively as other hunters would.
Well, dual lane is looking actually okay for Elevate now with Fafnir and the Ul. If they do both start in the dual lane here, that push power is not too bad. But with Neef Sylvanas, you're going to have a bad time there. This is a lot of setup for Shadow Nightmare in the mid lane, I feel. A lot of focus around the Zeus and making sure he gets big in the mid lane. World Weaver's coming in, Rattle's coming in, Sylvanas knockups to set up for the ult. There's a lot of things for Zeus.
You have to find ways to set up the Zeus to get off the damage. Zeus is one of the most damaging burst mages in the mid lane, and whenever you have double roots between Sylvanas and Neef, you have the knockout from Ratatasker, the stun. There's some good opportunities for Novus Orsa to get their mid laner online really quickly.
Well, I mentioned Ra for Mogao, but Ra has been picked up as well for Elevate. We'll see how this works out in the mid lane for them as well. Lane clear overall, we're looking at lane clear, I guess, at the start of the season, totally, just because that's what everyone seems to be talking about, is getting the early pressure to look to invade buffs and secure your own buffs or get the enemies.
I'm expecting Novus Orsa to get more of the lane pressure here between the Sylvanas and the Neith. One of the best combinations that you can have in the early game between the double roots. Not only are you going to clear the wave rather effectively, but you're also going to find ways to kill the enemy gods if you can land those abilities and on the wave and on the enemy gods.
Do you think, though, that we'll see Novus abandon Flurry Q in the duel lane again at the start? I mean, they could leave Neith 1v2. Should be fine there, right?
It would make sense to do so, especially against an Uller who doesn't necessarily have Transcendence finished quite yet. Looking like he's going to be trying to rush into the boots, though, so that could be problematic considering Flurry Q is going for a Transcendence, so he's not going to have that mobility, which is going to allow Jermaine to catch up to him.
Well, I believe Elevate got spotted there. Novus also did not get spotted on this left-hand side. Jermaine and Dardas are looking for a fight, and they're going to find a fight, and I don't think it's the one they want, because now they're trying to run. Frezzy's going to come off from the left-hand side on his own, though, so he's just looking to pressure and keep them busy, slow them down and rotating back to their own half. A lot of free damage coming off, and it's actually going to put Frezzy near the top of the damage charts right now.
And now the damage is being returned on, so Frezzy taking a lot of poke. The stun is even going to connect as well. Already had about 30% health or less. Flurry Q was out of position originally when Frezzy got a nice little root off on Dardas, and that could have really got Novus Orsa to a comfortable position in this dual lane. That's because they didn't. It's now Elevate controlling the pace of this dual laning phase, and if they want to, they could have invaded, but because the fact that mid lane rotated to their own speed. They have no eyes.
Yeah, both teams have rotated to their own speed after clearing out the first wave here. Left-hand side, no buffs taken, or even the little camps at the side of the purple and the red buff for the time being for the level 2. So it's all square for the time being. Just keep an eye on how these lanes match up as time goes on. Right-hand side, though, first bit of pressure of the game coming out from Fails towards Ducky, who's not too worried about it just now, because he does have a rotation coming himself.
We see Frostek right around the corner, but it's going to be Elevate that is sitting at level 3 onto Fails, finding a nice little double pull. Mogao could potentially look for some more follow-up here, especially without that stun. Ducky could be in a little bit of trouble, but with blue buff right around the corner, you don't necessarily always want to go for a poke. You want to be able to get off as much farm as possible. Instead, it's going to be an invade.
A potential invade here. They can get over here in time. Mogao with the bird bomb over the top. Not secured it just yet, but they may be able to pick up Frostiak here. The bluestone sticking on and Fails jumps to. Fails picks it up. Blue buff obviously went the way of Novus, but first blood to Elevate is definitely a win.
Well-timed gank coming out of Elevate. They feigned pressure as if they were about to do their own blue buff. They allowed Novus Orsa into a fake sense of security that they would be able to get their own blue buff, but instead it was actually a nice little attempt. The goal was just to steal away the blue buff. The kill was the cherry on the top.
Now right now as well, Elevate have a lead because of the first blood, but not only that, they have secured more of the objectives on the map in terms of the mid part, around the Gold Fury all the way through to the Fire Giant, controlling the Harpies a little bit more, which has allowed them to establish a tiny bit of a lead for the time being. We'll see how this continues onwards though, because you can see the experience is evened up already for the time being.
We've seen the solo lane. Still Ducky left alone. The jungler doesn't really want to put too much pressure here after the respawn. Wants to be able to continue farming, getting the back left Harpies, and looking back at the dual lane, we see both hunters with the red buff. The support Dardas with his purple of himself. It doesn't look like Frezzy was able to pick up his own purple though.
Yeah, I was going to see where Frezzy goes now, because I would like to see him start to rotate mid. Neef's fine by level 4 to be able to clear the wave on her own. She doesn't really need any help, and that could actually force Dardas out of this lane as well to create some synergies in the mid lane for some pressure now as the elementals on the right go the way of Elevate.
Especially with Flurry Q building into this Transcendence Star with the Bluestone Pennant, he'll have enough damage to be able to clear the wave. He just won't have the sustain off the Death Toll, so he just has to make sure that he's not in a position to get poked out, especially with Dardas still around the corner in the dual lane, making sure Jermaine is in a good spot.
Mogao didn't really land the lunge there, unfortunately. Ducky going to get pulled in though, not going to panic just yet. Takes a bit of poke, realizes he doesn't have to use the Eagles Rally for the time being, so just walks away as mid lane Blizzard did a pretty good job on this Raw so far of staying in position, especially when he's had 3 against him for a little while.
I love the pressure coming out of Fails here onto the soul lane, taking full advantage of the soul laner before the physical defense comes online.
Is that the key here for them? Oh, hold that thought. Flurry Q gets a solo kill on Jermaine. Look at Flurry Q's health bar as well
even
here.
Close.
Very strong. He's very healthy, so something went wrong in the wave. Obviously, I guess Flurry Q went for the trade over poking the minions here and ended up taking him out.
So what probably happened is, my best guess is Jermaine cleared the wave first and then looked to play aggressive, but then his abilities were on cooldown, and as a result, he just got absolutely blown up. The ultimate of Flurry Q was even used in that position. Purification wasn't used by Jermaine or Flurry Q, so getting the better end of that one is going to be Flurry Q, and that's great pick for him because he's building into Transcendence. It's going to help him get that power spike even quicker.
But it's not only that. That's been the question mark on Novus Orsa's roster here, is how well will Flurry Q fare up against some of the other hunters here in the league. Jermaine's recognized as a big star on Elevate. He's probably one of the hard carries they have on this team to pick up a kill on him 1v1. As a Neef as well. It's not bad.
Well, to be fair, he's not playing his signature Rama, but in the mid lane, a nice little knock-up, setting up the Zeus ultimate. Rattasker's in the sky, wants to find a landing onto somebody. Instead, going to play defensively, not wanting to commit too much. On the right-hand side, Ducky took a lot of damage from Mogao.
He did, but Ducky will be able to just fall back into the safety of this tower for the time being. I do like the play mid lane from Novus Orsa and Elevate. They're both looking for the right sort of ideas of how their comp works, but it just didn't execute perfectly. Next time around, maybe a different story.
And on the right-hand side, with poking out Ducky, they're going to be able to invade the blue buff this time around and steal it successfully. We see Oracles being taken, though, by Elevate.
Yeah, not just stealing the blue buff, getting these Oracles as well. Very important to just keep growing this experience lead for the time being, and the gold that comes along with it as well. Novus Orsa just looking for the team fights, I want to say. That's the kind of their play style here with the composition they've drafted. It's all about more than likely the all-in around the mid lane.
You have a lot of space control between the Sylvanas and the Zeus. You might as well take full advantage of it. Ideally, Novus Orsa would like to fight in the jungle side where there's less maneuverability for Elevate to get away. So that's why that mid lane gank wasn't as efficient as they would have definitely hoped for.
At least the first time round anyway. Flurry Q now working towards that Transcendence after picking up that kill onto onto Jermaine, invested into the Transcendence over the boots for the time being in this lane, looking to get those stacks up, so those World Weavers will do a little bit more damage.
And that's what you're really looking for out of Novus Orsa. You have such a great synergy with Frostiak and Shadow Nightmare to be able to find a kill, especially onto Blizzard FX on this Raw that doesn't have a natural escape. Forced him to go into the physical defense. That global ultimate from Flurry Q, the World Weaver, is going to do wonders, especially if he consistently gets the red buff.
And right now you can see these two teams battled it out during the relegations as well. If you didn't know that, they were both in the relegations fight, both made it back into the Pro League. Overall here, Novus Orsa squeaked through once again, but it just shows the consistency, at least staying pro level competitive.
Novus Orsa, they went 3-2 in the relegations. They lost to Elevate and New Game Plus back then, so this is a little bit of a rematch for them just to be able to redeem themselves.
Little bit, but now you've had a little bit of look at how the Season 4 is played now, and you've had a little bit more time with the season. You do get to sit back a little bit, Tony, and like reflect on the games that you played and go, okay, what went right, what went wrong, what do we need to draft differently or play differently?
Especially with every single patch, creating a little bit of changes here and there, still having to adapt, especially with this new Hunter meta, with Poison Star not being the ideal go-to selection for every single Hunter. So this is why we see different picks nowadays. We're seeing the Uller and the Neath coming online.
Yeah, they're coming online for now. We'll see how deep they do get into it. Obviously, Jermaine a little bit behind in terms of getting those Transcendent stacks online, but it's more than likely where we'll see him go as time goes on. No real invades coming out from either team for the time being. We did see the blue buff stolen by Elevate earlier on, but that's been it for now. Elevate have just been picking their moments wisely for an opportunity to continue to extend experience.
Quiet game thus far between Novus Orsa and Elevate. They're still feeling each other out, wanting to make sure that they get in the most advantageous position before they start pulling the trigger. And at this point, if there's going to be a 1v1 action on the left-hand side between Jermaine and Flurry Q, then that's going to make it less tempting for Novus Orsa to engage in middle without that World Weaver.
It's funny, Anatoly, because this playstyle from EU in this set, and actually the whole of today, is very reflective of EU as a whole. Every season when there's changes, it always starts off very slow, all about controlling objectives, finding small picks, just small wins, and not really about massive team fights. NA has always been the more aggressive overall, but as the season progresses, I think we'll see more aggression coming out from the teams once they realize what the benefit is.
It's still very early in the season. It's very early in the Season 4.
But this is just EU defaulting here, Tully, to what they like to do best, which is farm and find small wins.
Fair enough. You have to be able to take it very slow tactically. You don't want to give up too much because you could be bold and make some aggressive plays, but the question is, what are you giving up in return? So you're always looking for the little plays. Ducky, though, going to get taken out. Nice dive by Fails with the Typhoon.
Good work from Fails and Mogo over there to pick up that kill on Ducky, because you could see Novus also were around the Gold Fury, but Elevate knew about it, so Novus can't try and force the Gold Fury in response in the end. Elevate get a pick, and look at the right-hand side of the map right now. There's a full minion wave going into the Tier 1 tower, as well as the Elementals being taken down by Mogo and Fails as well. This synergy that these two have developed together is looking pretty good right now.
And that's the second blue buff that Mogo took away earlier on, as he's already sitting with a blue, picking up his own blue on his side of the map. This is also going to give him that level 12 relic before Ducky can, so he's going to be way more impactful in this upcoming team fight. Not only that, looking at the builds between these two, Ducky is forced to go into Mark of the Vanguard because of all these ganks coming out of Fails. It's going to mitigate a lot of his jet stream damage, but that's going to hurt his timing to finish off that Breastplate of Valor.
I'm interested by it because it will help against the Bluestone as well, won't it? They both got Bluestone there, so the dot effect won't be as impactful, but it is getting to the stage where the dot isn't as impactful as it used to be. Zeusel, Jermaine doesn't get knocked up there by Frostiak jumping down. Takes a lot of poke from the Detonate, but not enough to force him out of the fight for now. He's still sticking with his team. Got to be careful, though.
Did force the beats out of Jermaine, so he has to be very mindful about the next root pull coming out of Frezzy, especially if Flurry Q does have his ultimate. That could be an easy kill with Shadow Q right around the corner. That chain lightning will devastate him.
Flurry Q going to backflip in, but Fails did very good work to follow him up. However, Flurry Q's doing a hell of a lot of damage right now. The tick damage is not going to be enough to bring him down thanks to the help of Blizzard and the heal, but World Weaver is the reward. Nope, he's not going to find this unless Frezzy can get in deep enough to find it. Jermaine may need to body block this if need be, and Jermaine's going to take a bit of poke for that, but it's fine for now.
I thought they were going to continue because of the channeled World Weaver. There was no beads onto Jermaine. That would have been a nice, easy kill, especially if Frostiak was in position to follow up. Either way, whether or not they got the kill, Had they poked Jermaine out low enough to have him to back, he would have missed that whole wave on left. Similar story to Ducky earlier on.
Out round the back here with Dardes ulting to pull them off the Gold Fury. Blizzard, though, has been focused in the mid lane on that Ra as Odin is picking on Flurry Q. The Neef is in a lot of trouble here. Mogao is huge, and one more hit will get him another stack on his passive. In, however, jumps the boy of fails. Looking to make things happen with Dardes, who's already fallen to Ducky. Big bird bomb from Mogao gets him a double kill. And there's Jermaine to clean up Frostiak as well. Fails in the back, cleans up Ducky, and the tree will fall again. Frezzy's back to the same old Frezzy tree, which is dead in the base, and now the Gold Fury for Elevate is theirs as well.
5 for 1. What a great play out of Elevate. This is what we're talking about coming out of Mogao. Once he makes these rotations, he's just such a devastating force. That ultimate, I thought he was going to go earlier on to Shadow Nightmare, but instead Flurry Q's backflip was down. Easy target to take out the corner. And without that Hunter there finding the multiple routes, everyone else from Elevate can just be in a position that they want to clean everybody up.
And not only that, totally, an Odin ahead of everybody else is always a dangerous thing. Those bird bombs just crush you. If Odin's behind or even, he's not as impactful in the later stages, but if he stays ahead like this, he's going to make an impact the whole game.
And on top of that, his passive, every single time he's getting every time there's a kill on the battleground, he's getting increased movement speed, increased damage as well. So he's just like a snowball machine in these team fights, making it that much easier to find multiple kills.
And even though Mogao's look great, we can't really not turn our attention towards fails as well in the jungle on this Susano this game. We saw Getfisher play Susano earlier on with little effect. This time round, though, fails is really showing that you can do a lot of work with the Susano to set up your team and get them in a good position. But not only that, pick up the kills as well.
He's just taken the baby steps. He set up Moga multiple times in the solo lane, whether or not he found the kill onto Ducky or he poked him out long enough to be able to find something out of it. Now, Frostiak forced to go into a defensive ulti away from Mogao off of the earlier plays from Fails, just constantly applying the little pressure, which sets you up in this mid game now.
And that was also a win for Elevate there. Obviously, the Odin ring, a little bit of a shorter cooldown over Ratatoskr ultimate overall. And because of that, it's also relieving pressure on the mid lane where Rat can't look to gank now with that.
He's also not going to be able to farm on the Ratatoskr. Fails is going to continue to snowball. Already a 4-level advantage comparing the two junglers here. Hydra's Lament being finished for both of them, but this is getting to the point in time where the first Gold Fury that went to Elevate is a nice little comfortable lead, but once the second one's going to be started, I'm looking at Novus, Orsa, and how they're going to be able to really adapt. They need to figure out a way to get into the jungle first, utilizing their huge control between Frezzy's ultimate and Shadow Nightmare's ultimate.
Completely agree. Elevate just all seem to be on the same page. The only real roster change we could talk of would, I guess, be Blizzard. You know, he's the rookie on this team, never played in the Pro League before, but for now, he's doing his job in the mid lane. He's a level up on Shadow Nightmare. He's not being picked. He was focused in the last team fight as well around that Gold Fury, but still managed to survive.
Still having his relics available for this next team fight. Couldn't put him in a good position. Elevate with a 7-2 kill lead. Currently about 4,000 gold. Still looking to play aggressive though as Ducky. He's 2 levels behind on the side of Mogao, as well as Mogao building into more physical defense here, going for the Void Shield.
Well, mid lane just cleared up by both teams for the time being. With the Gold Fury being down, nothing to really contest other than the Portal Demon that is available now, and both teams seem to recognize that could be an option. So ward placement's going to be a key around there. Not necessarily on the Portal Demon, but around the area, exactly where Elevate have their wards down now.
With Ducky being level 13, he's managed to pick up that Phantom Relic, trying to make sure that Mogao's cage is going to be less effective onto Frezzy's Shadow Nightmare, especially if Flurry Q's backflip is down. Portal Demon still being teased around, but Frezzy's in a lot of trouble.
Now Frezzy's pinned inside the ring right now. The Bird Bomb hits too. The ultimate after was pretty good as Shadow Nightmare looking to follow up, but Mogao still picks up Frezzy and Elevate look to fall back. Cancel that. Dardes goes in on Shadow Nightmare, who's alone, forced to Aegis to look to survive and fails. Shadow the ultimate will pick up another kill. Ducky can only beat down with a shield so much, as now Flurry Q in the back is being forced out thanks to the help of Mogao there leaping in. Ducky doing great work with the bloodshed, but he's not enough to kill or pick up fails, and the body block from Dardes will absorb the World Reaver. Dardes may still get out of this one right now after blocking shots for his jungler.
Nice stun, but the teleport from Mogao trying to find a cleanup. Frostiak's dash is down. The 3 is not in position to find it, but the in-hand is 3 for nothing so far, as Frezzy has just respawned. Actually, I'm sorry, Jermaine actually took a spill early on in that engagement, but still, Elevate with a convincing lead. They didn't get the Portal Demon that they would have liked, but either way, they're showing that they're here to play. That pick onto Frezzy was so crucial, not being able to sustain consistently throughout that team fight, and Ducky wasn't in position to bail him out with his Phantom.
Well, the World Championship showed what Frezzy does for his team, and teams did exploit that as time went on, especially Energy, where when Frezzy walks forward like that, instead of letting him walk away or worried about an engage of it, try and burst him as quick as you can, and they managed to do that again. Shadow Nightmare tried to react, got some damage off in that engagement, but it wasn't enough to turn the fight at all.
It's a level 11 Sylvanas currently with the shoes of the focus. Doesn't really have the reinforced greaves to be able to tank a lot of this damage coming out of Elevate. He does have sovereignty, but he doesn't really benefit too much of the HP 5 if he's dead.
There's a couple of things that we saw Frezzy do in this game, because obviously he's gone for the meditation, which is useful for sustain overall, granted, but a shell against an Odin would be very helpful inside the ring, because you're not going to heal. Oracle plus a Core Demon getting very low, forced to reset here for a second. They're looking for a pick on Fails, whose Aegis comes into play, but the big old bludgeon from Ducky will pick up at least one kill.
Forcing the beats out of Frostiak, and it's going to be picked back up by Shadow Nightmare. Everyone is here from Novus Orsa. They want to be able to secure this objective, but it was stolen.
Great play
nice
from Blizzard.
Snipe.
Over the wall, gets the snipe, cleans it up, and Shadow Nightmare wasted his ult for that, just like Blizzard. Now Frezzy's in a ring once more. The dot damage is too much for Frezzy to get away, or is it? Meditation after he gets through the ring, thanks to the help of a Phantom. Jermaine picks up Ducky, however, as Elevate, realizing they're low, will turn tail and run for now, knowing they can use this portal to come back.
Nice jump from Jermaine. Dardus is going to be receiving that World Weaver. Overall, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Despite being 4-on-5 for a little while, it was Elevate that was able to steal away that Portal Demon and pick off Ducky in the process. Jermaine taking a lot of damage. Nice backflip from Flurry Q. They're going to prevent that stun.
Good performance from Flurry Q so far in this game, but he's in a bit of an awkward position in mid lane now. Frezzy can't really help him too much. Aegis forced, Beads forced as well, and Fails dips before the heal comes through. Flurry Q just forced to waste both relics.
Smart play by Elevate, not committing onto that tier 1 tower just to be able to pick off Flurry Q, because there was 4 people there. They could have easily picked him up, but they have a bigger prize in mind. It's the Gold Fury.
The Gold Fury started up here, looking to be bursted down before we can see Frostiak wrap around the back there, and now Frosty could be in trouble as Mogao blinks over, looking for him again. Frosty, though, took the Scenic route down the Jumbo lane back to safety, and he'll be fine for now.
It doesn't really matter. They found the second Gold Fury 17 minutes into the game, extending their lead to about 7,000 gold. Now experience hitting almost 5 digits for Elevate. This is looking really gruesome for Novus Orsa.
Mid lane Frezzy's in trouble again, and the big old snipe from Blizzard comes through to clean up the tree once more. And once again, there's mount pressure for Elevate on the right-hand side of the map if they want to look to pressure things here as well, with both Shadow Nightmare and Ducky having to turn to a very, very weakened tier 1 tower.
That tower will not stand much longer. Mogao just going to be able to tank it, no problem. Ducky's going to contest it a little bit, but it's only level 13 Shadow Nightmare is going to be able to defend.
Mistake from Elevate there, because it was a great disarm from Ducky that stopped them taking the tower. It allowed for reinforcements to come through, and Frostiak picks up a double kill now, and that was a small mistake from Elevate. 2 kills on the tier 1 tower that was already dead. A little bit too much.
They got surprised by the ultimate from Frostiak, and then the damage from Shadow Nightmare completely decimated them without the sustain from Blizzard FX, as he was still rotating from mid, and now it's actually going to be Novus Orsa getting a tier 1 of
Blizzard's
their own.
in trouble here, and he's going to fall down too. Dardes looking to keep Ducky pinned under the tower, so the tower brings him down. One more hit. That'll be enough for Dardes. 1 kill for him, and Jermaine is here. The Bruise brothers are looking to pick up kills. Jermaine off the mark with the shot, but looking for the enhanced. Shadow's jukes are good. Dardes still alive, but Flurry Q's here looking for a double kill himself. He gets one, forced a black flip away. Jermaine sustaining off the minions, as Flurry Q does fall back. No World Weaver available.
He has the Fatalis. He was thinking about chasing it for a little while, but like you mentioned with Frostiak right around that corner, has to be very mindful about overextending. So despite Elevate getting that tier 1 tower on the right, they lost 2 members right off the back, but Frostiak, though, he got caught out of position. Fails is going to want to chase this down.
Yeah, Fails is going to hit the right angle, the tornado over the wall. Frosty's looking to juke it. Instead, he just gets knocked up again. 1 more hit, but Frosty's dash will be up in a second. The Acorn's of a moment has to juke out. Not going to do it with Fails spin, and in the end, he'll fall down too. But they did steal speed. They did take the tier 1 tower and the red buff on the left-hand side too.
The problem with stealing speed at this point in the game is it's a 40-second respawn window, and now getting caged is Frezzy, forced to go into an ultimate, but that's not going to keep him alive. Without Ducky's Phantom, Frezzy's just going to die every single time.
Poor Frezzy, man. It's like GG, feels like Worlds. all over again. There's not much he can really do in this situation now. He's just sit back, and I'm interested that he's gone for the blink here to try and make plays with the Sylvanas now. He realizes he's going to be a focus anyway. If he can at least get the blink ultimate off before the fight starts, it's going to be more useful than just being waiting to be picked up.
The goal for Novus Orsa is to set up Shadow Nightmare. So obviously you have Frostyax ultimate, and now you're going to have the blink ultimate coming out of Fresi to be able to set up all that area of effect damage. But
Fire Giant call coming out here from Novus Orsa. They started it up for a second. 3 members now here as they saw Elevate were back in base. Blizzard on the rotation from mid here just to get his eyes on and see what's going on. But Blizzard well away. It's not being done. Realizes he sees a couple of people, walks away.
I like the desperation call coming out of Novus Orsa. They recognized they wouldn't be able to defend Tier 1 or Tier 2 tower on the left-hand side, whether or not they wanted to. So they go for the better objective, which was the Fire Giant. But Elevate are no slouches. They recognize the game plan, the sneaky game plan, so they're going to be able to defend that late game objective. And now they're all grouped up to be able to get the Portal Demon that's about to respawn.
Pull off the mark from Fresi. He gets pulled into an awkward spot. Takes a lot of free damage as the Bird Bomb hits onto Shadow Nightmare instead. Shadow forced to ult himself. No peel coming through. Shadow already dead. Fresi on low health. Knocked up in the sky. Tell a lie, because the snipe from Blizzard will pick him up already. Now on the run is Ducky with the Eagles running over the wall as Elevate push on. Speed buff about to spawn. Fire Giant available.
The problem with the way Novus Orsa is handling the Odin onto Mogao is just so inefficient, because Ducky, as a solo lane warrior, has to be able to dive that backline, but that's going to leave his whole backline exposed if he can't use the Phantom to get people out of Mogao's cage.
Frostyax going to trade off with Fails here, who's forced to Aegis the Fire Giant get in low, though I don't think they'll mind the trade too much, but if they lose Mogao as well, it may not really be worthwhile. World Weaver comes into play, Fire Giant goes down, but Elevate lose 2 members for that, when I don't think they really needed to.
No, they definitely didn't need to, but at least they still get it onto Blizzard FX and to Jermaine. They get the Portal Demon here, but now they have to watch out because it's Blizzard FX. He's getting caught out of position.
Bludgeon still hits him as well. Going to turn around to slow down Ducky as now Jermaine's here with the auto attack damage, and the hammer comes out and the snipe too. Great pickup from Elevate on the turnaround, and Frosty's still hanging around, looking for a pick.
You can tell the communication has just been on point by Elevate. The snipe from Blizzard FX, no hesitation, immediately off the dart.
The game baited into Frostyax because here comes Fresi. The pull did not hit home, unfortunately. If it did, could have been a different story there. I knew what Frosty was doing, trying to keep them busy so his team could catch up. But now there's a chance for Novus Orsa here to try and siege down this Tier 1.
Well, it's very difficult to siege against a Rod that can clear the way from a fairly safe distance, and with the sustain from not only the Rod but the Fire Giant buff on these 3 members, it's Elevate that's able to not only hold but be on the counter aggression with Mogao, and Fails taking that Portal Demon.
Well, I know Blizzard was looking to back for a while, but unfortunately he's had to stick around the whole time. His team now groups up for the Tier 1 tower in mid. In the jungle on the right, you also saw Mogao and Fails, pick up the Tier. So the speed buff, but there's a great pull on Jermaine.
They're trying to go onto Jermaine. The Zeus ultimate has been used defensively. Odin is trapped in Fresi and Shadow Nightmare, but not much follow-up because it's actually Frostyax that dove the backline. Jermaine able to pick that one up, still using the raw sustain and the Fire Giant buff. They're able to reset in a 5-on-4. Fails though, looking to go from the back.
Probably Shadow Nightmare, pull Shadow in as well as Ducky, but a great pull from Fresi, turns it on his head. Fails forced to run away. Eagles rally on the Mark II as the Bluestone Pendant, keeping him aggroed, but Blizzard picks up 2 off this play. Mogao's running to the backside too. Bird Bomb is potentially available here. Flurryq's in a lot of trouble.
There's going to be 4 dead so far. Flurryq forced to go into the Purification Beads. Mid Phoenix is going to fall, and I think they're going to end here, Hindu.
I'm not sure if they can. They've got no real minions with them. Actually, it's all a lie. They've got a few minions. A couple of members with the Fire Giant still. The Titan's going to fall too. Tier 2 towers standing. Only Flurryq versus the world right now. He gets 1. That gets 2. The Titan's still alive, but I don't think he can do it. Maybe he can.
It's so close. They still have 3 members. No. That's going to be the first game for Elevate. Well played. 23-12. Almost a 24-minute mark.